with some background music. Joel, could we have the order of service slide up? All right, Joel. This doesn't... Is this working? Is this... Oh, my microphone doesn't seem to be that loud. Yeah, if you could start the music. And also, once folks quiet down, I have to test my microphone. It doesn't... My microphone seems to be much quieter than this.
Oh, okay.
So, great. But yeah, if you could start some music.
Oh, yeah, because I turned it down last week because it was distorting when Joe was talking. But, all right, try it now.
Testing, testing. That seems better. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Start some music.
Testing, yep.
Still doesn't quite seem as loud as that one. I've got it up all the way too.
Good morning. I think, Joel, could we bring up our gathering music? We have, to enter us into worship this morning, we have a song from our neighbors in the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe called the Honor Song. Thank you. Turn over to Jen in our bell tower to ring us into worship this morning.
Welcome to our beloved sanctuary, as well as to our digital sanctuary on Zoom. My name is Tom Keitel, and I'm the current chair of music and worship. Many thanks to Joel Neiditz, who is helping us with our on-site camera that makes our hybrid service possible. It takes many volunteers to make our hybrid services work. Those of you who are here in person, we ask that you keep your mask on at all times while indoors. Though worship leaders may take off their masks at the mic when distanced from others, depending on their own comfort level. Children are welcome to remain in the sanctuary for our whole time together this morning. People of all ages are welcome to move about the sanctuary as they need to, and coloring sheets and activity bags are available at both entrances. As we begin our service today, we acknowledge that our church is built on ancestral, unceded land of the Massachusetts people. We acknowledge the devastating legacy of settler colonialism and continuing harm done to Indigenous groups in our community and beyond. May our commitment to justice, equity, and compassion call us to take meaningful and restorative action to honor and protect the land and all her people. We come together to recognize and celebrate the gift of life for ourselves and for all the creatures with whom we share this planet, for the miracle of every breath, with wonder in our joys and compassion in our sorrows. We invite all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs and doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. If you are new to Theodore Parker Church or visiting today, we'd love to stay in touch. You're invited to fill out a connection card, which will give you an opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates and help us welcome you. A link to the connection card will be in the chat, as will our other contact information. Those joining us here in the sanctuary are encouraged to fill out a contact card that you'll find in your pews within the bright yellow pamphlet. We'd like to offer a moment for those joining us remotely to greet those who are joining us in person. So, AV folks, if you could please put the sanctuary screen on gallery view so we can all see our off-site congregation. Folks joining us on Zoom, you can see the sanctuary now, so give us a wave if you'd like. And folks in the sanctuary, the camera is actually behind you, just below the clock. Folks in the sanctuary, give us a big wave and a hello to all the folks joining us remotely. Wonderful. You can have a seat. And AV folks, could you put the sanctuary back on speaker view, please? We hope that each of you will find some comfort to carry with you over the week and some challenge for your thoughts. As always, we wish for each of you health, well-being, and a sense of peace. As our pianist, Yakiko Takaki, brings us into worship with Waltz, Opus number 69, number 1, by Frédéric Chopin. We bid you welcome.
Thank you, Yukiko. Welcome and good morning. My name is Rose Gallogly, and I have the honor of serving as this congregation's religious educator. I'll be leading today's service alongside Theodore Parker Church member Ruth Kahn, who you'll be hearing more from soon. So this morning, we are entering complex territory together. Tomorrow is Indigenous Peoples Day in the US. A federal holiday was renamed from one that celebrated the devastating and violent legacy of Christopher Columbus just last year, after many years of advocacy for that change from the Indigenous community and their allies. In this service, we hope to honor the gifts and learnings that we have received from Indigenous leaders, share some reflections on our ongoing personal journeys to reconnect with the land where we live, to decolonize our perspectives and relationships. And we also hold with great care and humility what it is for us to be speaking on these themes at all. As white people of settler colonial descent, in a congregation with direct historical links to the theft of this land and to the ongoing violence of colonization. What we now call Theodore Parker Church, our beloved congregation, was first founded in 1712 as the second church in Roxbury. And that congregation's parent congregation, the first church in Roxbury, understood part of its mission to convert native peoples of this land to Puritan Christianity. Congregations like ours claimed land that wasn't theirs and were a big part of suppressing the exact worldview that we are now trying to learn from and celebrate. That is a heavy legacy to carry and to reckon with. With that said, is there a way for us to lead this service without, in some way, replicating the harm of our religious ancestors? Probably not. We are trying to enter with enough humility and care that the potential for harm is reduced. And we are choosing to wade into these complex waters anyway. We believe that being with that full complexity, both with our capacity to both cause harm and contribute to healing, is at the core of our work together as a faith community. We live in a deeply complex, messy world in which our capacity to harm and to heal is always present. Let us wade into these waters together, holding ourselves and each other with care, making space for our capacity to grow and heal even the deepest of wounds. Let us worship together. Please join me now, rise in body or in spirit, for our opening hymn, number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. The words will be up on the screen or in your gray hymnal.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight, source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all to thee we raise, this our hymn of grateful praise.
Thank you. You may be seated. We now let our chalice with words of shared covenant, as we do every week. I'll invite Ruth to lead us in our words in English, and I'll lead our chalice lighting in Spanish, which we say every week in honor of our sister community in Plazuelas. The words will be up on the screen. Please join in with us.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Thank you all. Now I invite Ruth to come back up and share a reflection on her journey to build a relationship with the specific, beautiful bit of the earth that she lives on, and the lessons that she's learned from those with whom she shares her home.
The other day, I was working from home as usual and looked up from my computer screen, an activity I tend to do quite often. The glass doors leading to our backyard revealed an unusual sight. Is that a dog? Wait, brindled reddish-gray coat, a pointed snout, no collar. That's a coyote. I went over to the glass doors and peered at the coyote, and the animal looked at me. We shared a sacred moment together. Then it calmly turned and walked up the bush-lined hill toward the stone wall, which separates our backyard from Peter's Hill in the Arboretum. I assume it hopped over the wall. My first coyote sighting was a thrill and a bit of a scare. Cats roam about the neighborhood, and Peter's Hill is a favorite among dog walkers. So I posted a notice on our local email site, Motley's Crew, warning my friends and neighbors to keep their animals inside. And then I remembered, coyotes live here too. They have lived here much longer than me, longer than the local farmers, and longer than the European colonists who claimed this space. Thanks to Mary Ann Millsap and Nancy Wilbur, who used to own this house, I, too, have had the privilege of living on Peter's Hill for the past 10 years. When I first saw this century-old home with its wood floors, tall ceilings, and spectacular views, and met these two welcoming ladies, I knew I had found my new home. I soon learned that Peter's Hill is a close-knit neighborhood with a women's book club, an annual Halloween block party, and a whole lot of members of the Theodore Parker UU Church, including my new landladies. Now, walking around the hill and beyond, I navigate the twisty paths that lead to more twisty paths, lined with labeled trees, inhabited by so many birds, bunnies, a multitude of squirrels, and coyotes. Meeting my friends and neighbors with their dogs along these paths makes me feel connected. I belong here too. So the other day, after I posted the warning about my coyote sighting, I sat and thought about my encounter. Knowing that coyotes hold significance for First Nation people and people from many other cultures, I Googled coyote symbolism and found an article on an iPublishing site by Erica Jensen, a spiritualist and researcher who studies the intersection of science and spirituality. She says, for many people, seeing a coyote is a sign to take a closer look at oneself, to lighten up and laugh at ourselves as well as our own mistakes. Coyote symbolizes playfulness, adaptability, the ability to see the truth in a situation. Knowledge and intelligence are some of the common metaphorical meanings associated with the spirit animal coyote. It's both a troublemaker and a favorable omen. The coyote's spiritual symbolism reminds us to use our brains rather than getting emotional or overwhelmed. Also, the totem of the coyote serves as a potent reminder to have fun and stop taking life so seriously. Even though the coyote is well aware of the world's issues, he nevertheless enjoys himself and plays games. Today, I see myself, my neighborhood, and TPC, my spiritual home, reflected in the eyes of the coyote, and I give thanks. In 1972, Hal Hobson set a traditional English melody to a verse from Corinthians. You may know the melody as "Oh, Wally, Wally," or more familiarly, "The Water is Wide." Please join Michael and me by rising in body and spirit as we sing hymn 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
Though I may speak with bravest fire, and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain, as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not begin my love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free.
Thank you all. You may be seated. We now invite you to join us in a time of prayer, of meditation. We open our prayer with some of the words that first inspired the service, the Thanksgiving address of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. The leaders of that sovereign nation have encouraged these words to be shared across many cultural contexts so that their message can be heard as widely as possible. We invite you to take a deep breath, to close or soften your eyes if that feels comfortable to you, to feel your center be a little further down than usual, in your heart, in your belly. Let us take in these words together.
Today we have gathered, and when we look upon the faces around us, we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one.
We are thankful for our mother, the earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one.
We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. Now our minds are one.
Now we turn towards the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. We share now in a time of quiet, followed by musical meditation.
Generosity is a spiritual practice in our Unitarian Universalist congregations. We give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and in sacred space. We give with the faith that together we have enough. Links to donate will be in the chat, or you can take a meditative moment writing out a check and sending it to the church after the service. Ushers will be coming around the sanctuary to collect an offering from those in the pews who wish to donate something more tangible. As Akiko shares Chopin's Waltz, number 64, number 2, an offering to sustain this congregation of memory and hope will be gratefully received. Thank you.
reading for Calling the Spirit Back from Wandering the Earth in Its Human Feet by Joy Harjo. Put down that bag of potato chips, that white bread, that bottle of pop. Turn off that cell phone, computer, and remote control. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth, gathering essences of plants to clean. Give it back with gratitude. If you sing, it will give your spirit lift to fly to the stars and back. Acknowledge this earth who has cared for you since you were a dream, planting itself precisely within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampment of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Be respectful of the small insects, birds, and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry. The heart knows the way, though there may be high-rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, massacres, wars, and those who will despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take you a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100, 1,000, or even more. Watch your mind. Without training, it might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plant. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Let go the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animal, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters. Gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now you can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place else to go. Make a giveaway, and remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person find their way through the dark.
In her celebrated 2013 book, Braiding Sweetgrass, plant scientist and citizen Potawatomi Nation member, Dr. Robin Wall Kimmerer, tells a story of an almost familiar scene. A group of school children are gathered in a large auditorium with the third grade class clustered up front. It's their turn to recite the words that this school begins every day with, grounding them all in the values and promises they make together as respectful citizens. The words the children share are not the Pledge of Allegiance or their school motto, They are something much older, much more reverent. This is a school in the Onondaga Nation, a sovereign native territory in what we commonly call upstate New York. Onondaga is part of the larger Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the school children there begin every day with the words of the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address, which we heard a bit of earlier in our prayer. Today we have gathered, and when we look upon the faces around us, we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. This address is just one expression of the worldview of the Haudenosaunee people, a worldview centered around relationship and reciprocity between the human community and the rest of the living world, in which expressing gratitude actively and often is the way to maintain the balance of that reciprocity. Native peoples across this land and around the world have vast cultural differences and complexities, none of which I mean to smooth over. But this central worldview of relationship, reciprocity, centering in gratitude for the living world is largely consistent across those many differences. And that worldview stands in stark contrast with that of the dominant culture of this country and many other colonial nations. A worldview that assumes human separation from the natural world and our right to dominate over it, to take what we want with little thought to impact, let alone to gratitude. As she reflects on the words of the Thanksgiving address in their contrast to dominant culture in the US, Dr. Kimmerer asks, what would it be like to be raised on gratitude, to speak to the natural world as a member of the democracy of species, to raise a pledge of interdependence? I want to ask us all this question. What would it be like to be raised on gratitude, to speak to the natural world as a member of the democracy of species, to raise a pledge of interdependence? And maybe more specifically, for those of us gathered here today, what would it be for us as members of a faith community with distinctly colonial roots to build a culture of gratitude here and to speak to the natural world around us as members of our democracy, to pledge our commitment to interdependence? That is not a simple question. If you're anything like me, you may have read Braiding Sweetgrass or encountered the work of other Indigenous authors over the years and felt a pull towards it, a longing. I feel my heart sing when I hear the words of the Thanksgiving address, and I feel my own deep gratitude for the many beings and forces that it names, and I just want to move towards it. I want to shake off the colonial culture I was raised in and step in to deeper relationship with the natural world. If only it were that simple. It is not that simple, and it won't ever be, at least in our lifetimes. The reality of colonization, the past and ongoing violence against Indigenous peoples of this land means that it will never quite be that simple. The reality of my own ancestors' role in and complicity with colonization and our shared religious ancestors' role in and complicity with colonization means that it will never be that simple. There is ongoing colonial harm that none of us here began or choose to participate in, that we nevertheless benefit from. The Indigenous people of this land are still struggling for basic recognition, sovereignty, resources. The earth herself is struggling with the devastating impact of so many centuries of human dominance. We cannot skip over those realities on our way to building personal relationships with the natural world. I wonder, have you ever tried getting really still and listening to the land that you're on? Have you tried centering in your heart and feeling your own gratitude for the tree that offers you comfort and shade, for the bird song, for the animals that you encounter on your neighborhood walks, for the flowers growing in your yard? Have you tried holding that gratitude for all that is here now alongside an awareness of the violence that has taken place on this land? That violence may seem like a long time ago, but a few hundred years of human time in the long, slow time scale of the earth, it's more like a few minutes. What would it be like if we could see the past few centuries right in front of us? If we knew specifically, by name, the people who called this land home for thousands and thousands of years, who had cultural practices of reciprocity with the living beings of this land. And then what if we saw in front of us the land taken from them by those who thought them inferior and thought of the land just as a resource to be consumed? Can you start to feel into the depth of that pain? Can you start to feel the grief that this land and its ancestors still hold? When I speak about reckoning with our colonial roots alongside building a culture of gratitude, I mean spending time in that deep well of grief. I mean not avoiding any layers of the reality we are inheriting. I believe strongly that in all of the big work of our time, the work we're committed to in this congregation of decolonization, undoing white supremacy, dismantling patriarchy, there is always both material and spiritual work to do. In the context of decolonization, that means that we cannot substitute anything we're doing here today for the material work that also needs to happen. We must also support material efforts to pay reparations to Indigenous peoples, to tangibly give land and power back to those from whom it was unjustly taken. And as complex and messy as that is to do now. And we cannot substitute that kind of material work for the deep spiritual work that must also be undertaken. The spiritual work of expanding our worldviews and coming back into deeper relationship with the land, our ancestors, community. This is also decolonization work. We know that the violence that our religious ancestors perpetrated against Native peoples of this land was not only physical. When the first Puritan churches were founded in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, churches that would later become Unitarian congregations, part of the violence they enacted was theological. They insisted that their God was the only God, their holy book the only source of wisdom, their ways the only righteous way. And that perspective might seem light years away from the open, pluralistic theology that this church now espouses. And in many ways it is. We have come very far. But the world around and inside each of us still carries the imprint of that harsh colonial Christianity. For me, no matter how much I long to live in reciprocity, no matter how much I surround myself with Indigenous perspectives and learn to see the natural world as my kin, I feel that old story, that imprint, showing up as a little voice in the back of my head saying, "Why are you thanking that tree that has given you shelter and calm? It can't hear you. It's only a thing to be used, not a full being." Learning to quiet that judgmental voice, or to offer my gratitude anyway, despite its presence, has been a big part of my ongoing decolonial journey. Learning to hold a felt sense of connection with my own ancestors alongside the ancestors of this land and of this religious tradition has all been a part of my ongoing decolonial journey. Learning to make space for the big grief that this land holds, the big grief of all that has happened that was not my fault or within my control, but is nevertheless a part of the fabric of the world that I live in. That grief has been a big part of my ongoing decolonial journey. Friends, this is the work that we are inviting you into today. Can we, as a faith community, hold some of that big grief together? Can we continue to tell the truth about our colonial roots and be a part of tangible material efforts to redress those centuries of harm alongside holding our gratitude for the living world around us? If you're starting to feel the heaviness of that grief, of that history, and you're not sure where to go with it, I have some good news. Grief and gratitude are sisters. Grief and gratitude are sisters. They are woven together, one never too far from the other. The more we open our hearts to truth-telling, the more we allow ourselves to grieve for and with the land, the larger our capacity for gratitude will be. And from that place, I believe that we truly can build a culture of gratitude here, that we can learn to speak to the natural world around us as members of our community, and that our commitment to true interdependence can be made real. May it be so, and amen. Our closing hymn is a favorite, UU favorite that grounds us in the sacred earth to which we sing our gratitude. Blue Boat Home, written by UU musician Peter Mayer. Rise and body or spirit. Let's join in singing together.
Number 1064.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks for the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Thank you all. Seated. Now I want to invite us to the sacred ritual of announcements. We have a few. I think Jill will put them up on our screen. First, I want to invite all of you this coming Friday evening. We're having a game night in the parish hall, calling it the RE Community Game Night because it's mostly focused on the children and youth of the congregation, but all are welcome. Bring a game, bring a friend. We'll have some pizza to share. Next Sunday, we have a very special service, Blessing of the Animals. So this is our annual service inspired by St. Francis and the tradition of blessing animals, and your pet, if they travel well and enjoy being in new spaces with other animals, is welcome to come and join us here to be blessed. Some of you may have seen in the e-news the Celebration of Life memorial service for our beloved TPC member, Diana Diggs, has been scheduled. It will be on Saturday, November 12th at 11 a.m. right here in the sanctuary. And Carrie's up here for another announcement.
Hi, I'm Carrie Turan, Chair of the Board, and the UUA asks us to do a ministerial appraisal for our interim minister, Reverend Joe. We're a little bit behind on our 12-month appraisal, and we'd like to invite members of the congregation, members and friends, to share with us input, the big picture input about Reverend Joe's work this past year. And when I say big picture, I'm talking about her work around pastoral care, her sermons, the work she's done around the interim development of the congregation. If you have things that you'd like to see her address in the coming months, please get in touch with either Cindy Bergeron or myself. Our email addresses are up here, or you can look us up on Breeze. So we'll be, members of the board will be meeting in the next couple weeks to fill out a form that the UUA gives us to do this. So we welcome your input.
Thank you, Carrie. And then our last announcement is just that we have coffee hour after the service today. We have some social time to gather in the parish hall through these doors, through the breezeway into the parish hall. There'll be some snacks, good conversation, good company. It's wonderful to be with you all this morning. We'll close our worship time together, more gratitude, with the final verses of the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, our Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth. For all of the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now our minds are one. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have not named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. Now our minds are one.